everybody, it's Sean, Outtake Esl. What I want to look at today is a presentation I do for my 5th graders, and this one was based on uncountable nouns and countable nouns. Now, I don't think that language is necessarily important for students at the 5th grade level learning English as a second language for them to remember those grammatical terms, but I do think it's good to start to incorporating it in your language as incidental language. What I did here is I have it over the course of 2 classes or 2 weeks, and what I did was break the first week into countable nouns and the second week into uncountable nouns. So this is how. So as we go through this, there will be a kind of a very distinct break between those two sort of aspects of countable and uncountable nouns. Also like to focus here on plural nouns and the different pronunciations, seeing as it is an emphasis on oral English, and we'll take a look at that as we go through the presentation. But let's get started here. Start out with how much, how many, how much. Du shao is the Chinese. Now that is an edible text in there. I like to leave that in there just in case I'm going to be using this with a different language. And I like to begin the day with the appropriate salutation. Whether the class is in the morning or the afternoon, usually I'll ask them to say good morning, and I'll ask them to use my appropriate title, Mr. Sardo. And I think that's very important. I know I expressed that in other videos, and I always sort of give that advice out when speaking to other ESL teachers. And I think it's important that emphasis on on titles is a good thing, especially with youngsters, because they're starting to develop their sense of school and protocol and even authorities and proper behaviors and things like that. And another aspect of it key is that it's key in the English language. That differentiation of genders is very important. It's considered actually very progressive. So I think it's good to sort of keep stressing that they have to kind of remember there's a he and there's a she, there's a Mr. and there's a Mrs., things like that. So I think it's good to have that sort of recognition in the classroom. So I'll start the classroom off with, what is the class on here? After the bell. And maybe good morning, Mr. Sauer, and I'll say good morning, class. And then I'll have my name sheet. And here I wanted to just kind of continue with paper, scissors, stone. So I'll go through the name sheet, and so let's say good morning to Suyan. I'll say good morning, Mr. Sardo. Hi, good morning. It's good to see you. Paper, scissors, stone. Team 1, team 2. Get them a little warmed up. I continue with paper, scissors, stone here, just because it's kind of familiar. I'm thinking of moving to a new game. I'll introduce that before class in the next section. I like to review class rules every class. Here, they should be familiar with the English for the rule. So I'll say, what's ching ting mean? Ching ting. Maybe I re-emphasize. Listen. No eating and drinking in class. And speak English. Speak English. As I said before, I like to do the first 15 minutes. I like to focus just on phonics. So we'll be going through vowels, going through consonants, consonant sounds, digraphs, diphthongs, things like that. What I've decided to do is just kind of break it into vowel sounds and consonant sounds. So if there's a digraph that's a vowel sound, we'll just take a look at that, or a blend, we'll just consider it a consonant sound, things like that. You'll see more of that in my presentations as I get the videos uploaded. I've used, with my 5th graders, I like to use three sounds, and just focus on that. I try and find sounds that are relevant to the material they're working with, the conversational material they're working with, and the vocabulary. Also, I look in their textbooks to see what they're sort of focused upon there and try and incorporate that into my work. I focused here on the vowels simply because I wasn't familiar with what they were working on or focused upon, and that's probably the best place to start anyway. So we did A and E. Now we're going to look at I, O, and U. What I will do is I'll write the longs and the short vowels, A, E, I, O, U. I'll write the phonetic symbol next to the letter. And first we'll review A and E. What's the sound? A. What's this? E. What's this? Ah. Ah. What's this? Ah. Ah. And then we'll get to the new vowels. What's this here? Let's say I. And it's good here to kind of emphasize I. Kids kind of make it a little bit fun. Where you can go I, right? As in ice. Student knows it. What's this here? Anybody know? Ice. Paper, scissors, stone. The short. You know. And I think it's kind of good to kind of use your expression as You can kind of use an expression that is sometimes is sometimes used when making that sound. Just to kind of give them more practice with the sound. And here we have pig. O as in snow. Oh, snow. Short. Oh. Usually it's like oh. You do a caveman thing here. Like dog. Usually pretty good with O. I found that they're having some trouble with A. I think that's just because they've been taught it wrong, to be honest with you. They're doing kind of more of the British sound of A. They're doing more of an oh. U. Now here I use the YU sound too, the YU phonetic symbol also, because I feel it's pretty much the same thing. As in music, you, and you can go to emphasize the pronoun you. And I could get in here. As in so. In this exercise, once again, I think it's really important to establish a familiarity, so you don't have to really waste a lot of time having students understand it. Once you have the majority, when you establish something like that, then the entire class knows it. And it's not something that just some individuals are understanding and others are not. If you use it repetitive, if you repeat that exercise and you establish that familiarity and how something, what the expectations are, then you can have more involvement in a classroom. Especially that's really something you need to do when you have 40, 50 students, or 30, 40 students, or something like that. So this is the exercise I call Just Say the Word. I do this in every class. I'll have the word here and its phonetic symbols, and I'll want the students to tell me what the word is, or say the word. So maybe I'll give them the H and the L, like H and ul, and then we'll take a look at that vowel there. Okay, so this vowel, we'll look over at the board. What's the vowel say? Let's find it over here. Okay, so it is it's short, so it's I. So what's the word? What's the word? Anybody? Someone figuring out. They'll be trying to, they'll be trying to form it, and that's exactly what you want them to do, or that's exactly what I want them to do. It's trying to put the letters together in their own heads and come up with the correct pronunciation. And then we'll review it. We'll go hill. Show the picture, and then I'll go through with the entire class. Go, all right, class, everybody speak. H, E, O, H, E, O. Hill. Couple other, then we just kind of go through examples here, and here it's once they get the swing of it, you can really start, they can start to say, look to get the points, So I got a long sound there, so long I. What's the word? Ice? Ice. Ice. Rise. Short, so oh. What's the word? Rock. Alright, so there's that long, go to the board. What's that over here? What's that? Oh, toe. It doesn't really matter if they don't know what the word is necessarily. You just want to get them to say the word, and that's also probably a little bit sort of the it keeps their attention because they're kind of interested to see what the word is. And I try and use words that they're generally going to be familiar with. You don't want to use something that they probably wouldn't recognize. Try and keep the nouns for the most part because it's hard to have illustrations of verbs and actions, things like that. So I got the short, okay. Then we get into the conversational aspect of the classroom. Here once again I have how many and how much, and I broke it into how many one week and how much the next week. So I'll start here and maybe say, okay, what do you see? What do you see? What do you see? See what they know in terms of all these items. I tried to base it mostly on food items and going to the market. So I have a listening exercise here, and that's kind of how I introduce the conversational parts of all my classes. Is with a listening to a dialogue and a repetition of that. Very simple dialogue I use. I use ESL library audio files, and I kind of chop them up and load them into these speech bubbles here in the action settings. I also go onto YouTube and find dialogues, and I'll download those as MP3s and cut them also up there also. Or isolate different sort of sections of those dialogues for my presentations. This particular one uses a channel by called Mark's English, and he's kind of great at. He'll use maybe one expression and he'll do that same expression 2 or 3 times. So here I was able to find him using how many this, how many that. So I got a picture here, and then I'll point down here. There's the eggs down there, and I'll say, does anybody know what these are? Eggs. So listen in.
How many eggs do you want?
All right, very good.
How many eggs do you want?
All right. So I'll play that. What I find here, once again, because I'm building on having this repetition, the students know that they're expected to sort of repeat it. And they'll do that, and so if it's correct, if I'm here, I'll say listen, they'll listen, then they'll repeat it, and then maybe I'll show them the words. Very often it's pretty easy for them to pronounce it, so we can just kind of move right through it really quickly now.
Not too many, just a few.
Too many. You kind of just listen, see if the majority of the class got it, or just some students got it. Just some students get it. Then maybe you want to show them the language. Not too many, just a few, and then you have everybody repeat it. Not too many, just a few. What are these down here? Does anybody know what these are? Grapes. So listen.
How many grapes do you want?
Please. How many grapes do you want? Okay, very good. How many grapes do you want? Listen.
Not too many, just a few.
Not too many, just a few. Very good. Not too many, just a few. Oh, what's this down here? I was kind of surprised they didn't know what cookies were. Cookies were kind of a word that they weren't. They kept calling it pizza.
How many cookies do you want?
All right. So maybe here you might have like maybe 3 or 4 students over here know it pretty well, and some other students on the other side of the classroom. So here I would say, okay, everybody, it didn't sound like everybody got that one, so all right, let's take a look at the words. How many cookies do you want? All right, class, how many cookies do you want? If there's a little bit of difficulty there, you might do it 1 or 2 or 3 times or something like that.
Not too many, just a few.
I started out with kind of that 2 to 3 system. You introduce the word, and you do it twice, and then you do it a 3rd time. Where they're supposed to produce it themselves. But I find the students don't really like that sort of rote learning. It's hard to keep their attention. They get bored with it. So you kind of, if they're getting it correct, like I say, if I listen to it and they repeat it, and the majority of the class has it pretty pretty much on the mark. I think it's fine just to move on. And then I get in this section, like I said here, the term countable isn't so necessary for me. I don't feel it's that necessary for them to remember those terms. They're big terms, but I introduce it here, and countable 1, 2, 3, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, how many? So let's say how many, what's this here? How many eggs? So I say how many eggs? How many eggs? How many eggs? And then I'll ask him. 1 egg. How many eggs? 2 eggs. How many eggs? 3 eggs. Paper, scissors, stone. And I get rid of them. Now I say, how many eggs? How many eggs? Some of them get it really quick. You just kind of see who gets it fast enough. So you say 6 eggs. There was actually one student who kind of tripped me up too, because I did the 1 egg, said how many eggs, 1 egg, and then I showed the next the 2 eggs, and he said 3 eggs. Yeah, so he was kind of 1 step ahead of me there. And then just kind of review it. So how many, what are these? Cakes. How many cakes? 3 cakes. How many cakes? 4 cakes. And here you're just listening to that. They're picking up the S there, the plural. 6 cakes. Then you do it one more time. How many cakes now? 13 cakes. And so here's where I wanted to kind of focus on that. Since we're talking about plurals, I wanted to get them to work on the pronunciation of that S sound. So I say, okay, so one book. Everybody, 1 book. 1 book. All right. Now many books. So here I just want to focus on the pronunciation of that. The 3 different sounds the S makes. Books. So I can say 1. What's this here? 1 chair. Everybody, 1 chair. But many chairs. Phonetic symbol down there for that reason. And then 1 watch. And I have my watch on, so it's kind of simple. Something they're more sort of inclined to want to know what it is. So many watch is. So here we just kind of work on an exercise there. Just say the word again. Alright, so I have, does anybody know what this is? It's a dress. Okay, say the word. Say the word. See if they can say it. One student can help. Dress is. Very good. Dress is. Paper, scissors, stone. All right, class, everybody. Dresses. Alright, so I have 1 pen. Alright, but here I have pens. And then this is hat. So I say 1 hat, or many hats. Egg, so 1 egg, but many eggs. This is bus. So bus is. In this exercise here, so I'll start it off real quick. And okay, all right. So I have cakes, I have cookies, I have candies. So how many cakes? So I just kind of go right into that really quick, so they don't expect it, and that's kind of the fun of the game. So they get the idea that it's kind of a time game. So I say how many cakes, and usually somebody might have got the numbers, and somebody might say 6 cakes. If they get it correctly, paper, scissors, stone. It's double challenging. All right, here, move on. Moving. 9 cakes. How many candies? 7. Very good. How many cookies? 8. Very good. All right. So now they get the hang of the game. we're going to kind of move into the next. All right, so I got cats, what's this, cows, pigs, chickens, and dogs. So how many? How many cows? How many cats? How many? To start off, how many dogs? Anybody know? These aren't working very good. Cow. How many chickens? How many pigs? How many pigs? They get it right. Paper, scissors, stone. Get it wrong. Just kind of calling somebody. They're pretty excited about it. The game at this point. All right, I got dolls, and I got some teddy bears, and I got action figures and some balls here. So how many? How many balls? How many balls? 5. How many dolls? How many teddy bears? How many action figures? Couple more of these. Kind of fun game. I'm at the zoo here. I got some tigers. I got some bears. I got some pandas. I got some monkeys there. So tell me, how many pandas? This is kind of got a trick one in here. We'll get to that. How many pandas? 4. How many lions? 1. How many tigers? 2. 3. How many monkeys? Tough one. And this is kind of the trick one that I threw in there just for the fun. I say, how many bears? And they always come back with 2, right? They think of the brown bears. But I go, no. They go, no, there's 6. And I think scratching their heads for a minute. Some of them pick it up. Panda bear. 4 plus 2, 6. That kind of ties into the idea of uncountable categories and things like that. Clothes store. Hat. Shirt. Here I kind of point it out because they might not, that idea of different sort of categories, different types of things. I think it really kind of comes into play when you're talking countable and uncountable nouns. So we got hats. How many hats? I just kind of want to suggest some of these things, or kind of put them in there as things to sort of consider or think about when you're speaking. Then we get to this activity here. It's activity they're pretty familiar with here. They love that tuba sound. I don't know. Anywhere you go in the world, man, tuba just kind of speaks out like the oaf, the town oaf, the neighborhood oaf. Whenever you hear that tuba coming in town, oh, this guy's silly. So I go around, what did you buy? I got broccoli, I got pizza, grapes, candies, peaches, onions, cookies, carrots, and oranges. What did you buy? I bought pizza. All right, paper, scissors, stone. I bought candy. That tuba sound, the Price is Right sound there. Tuba, it's just kind of the universal sort of sound of this guy is a goofball. Goofball. You got some broccoli, grapes, cookies. So it works out to 5 and 4 since there's 9. Sometimes I'll play that all the way through. Usually I'll do maybe leave 2. Because it's more important for me to get into this next exercise. Along with that, okay, so how many did you buy? You bought pizza. How many did you buy? You bought carrots. How many did you buy? Go through the numbers here. 18, 10, 6, 14, 20, 11, 7, 12, 16. Go through that with the class. See if they know them. If there's anything they don't, you just kind of go over them. It's kind of surprised. Mostly they knew them. But there's a little bit of trouble spots with 14, things like that. So then just same game. Just the same game here. That's wrong. And then I have this exercise, and usually I kind of ran out of time on those last few exercises, but it's kind of the conversation. I just kind of go through it. Oops. I don't know why the languages are working. Okay, so that slide was just, how many did you buy? I bought, how many did you buy? I bought 2. How many did you buy? I bought 3. Let's see, 4 hamburgers. Did you buy meat? No, I bought cheese, or I bought vegetables, or I bought milk, or I bought eggs. I bought vegetables. Okay, and this is kind of tying back into the idea of categories and countable and what's uncountable. Well, what kinds of vegetables did you buy? I bought potatoes. I bought potatoes. All right, so maybe one of them guessed correctly, or maybe both of them guessed correctly. So paper, scissors, stone. Moving on in the conversation, how many potatoes did you buy? I bought, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2. How many did you buy? I bought 5 potatoes. How many did you buy? I bought 3 potatoes. I bought 1 potato. Paper, scissors, stone. Nobody gets to do it. Alright. Let's move on. Looks like we got a slide in here that doesn't belong there. So that are we on now? Let's go through these real quick. Oh, I'm sorry. No, I do want to do that. Alright, so we were talking about countable, and since I started off with a listening exercise that used the term few, what I wanted to do is to bring those terms in the classroom and get them familiar with what they mean. So instead of saying bye bye 1, bye bye 2, I can say how many eggs I bought. That's not right. You give them back. So I reintroduce this slide here. And I say, okay, how many eggs? And I go 1 egg. I say, oh, I buy 1 egg, a single egg. How many eggs? I buy 2 eggs, a couple. How many eggs? How many? A few. Now how many eggs? Some eggs. And since we were using how many, I wanted to kind of take a look at that term and make a connection there. So how many eggs? Well, many eggs. Some students knew that right away, so that was good. Same exercise, how many bananas? A single banana. How many bananas? A couple bananas. How many bananas? A few bananas. How many bananas? Some bananas. And how many bananas? Many bananas. Then we get to this exercise where I kind of just want to use pronouns. That's what we're going to be looking at in our next lesson is pronouns. So I just kind of want to start to bring that into the classroom. So I have this girl over here, and I have he, and 5, she, and a. So what do you think goes here? She bought, what goes here? He, and 5, or a? And a. What do you think of here? I, many, 2, we, any. We bought how many carrots? Many, 2, or any. Many carrots. Let's see here. I got this guy over here, and I got few, he, couple, a, she. So he bought a, what do you think here? Couple, few, a, she. Alright, so I have him and her, so they bought a couple. What do you think about this one? There's nobody here, so I bought a single. A bunch of people here, so they, how many carrots? So. And then this is kind of the, I guess I would say it's kind of a filler activity, a filler exercise, but I use it in all my classrooms. Here I just give you a word, and you have to come up with a sentence. And it's always based on the words we were using in the class. Bought. The word, I bought pizza. Very good. Give me a sentence. And I bought an orange. Good. Few. I bought a few oranges. Many. How many oranges did you buy? Some. I bought some. All I need. Ah, well, it's just a repeat. 2. I bought 2 oranges. And so that would end the first week. Usually I end it right before 10-second chats. That's usually a good 45, 50 minutes there. But that section with the 10-second chats is always kind of the end of the class. Just kind of gives you a chance to sort of review what you went over in the classroom. And here I want to focus on much. So I begin a class off in the same way I begin every class. Here I did the rules. Here I'm just giving you the Chinese now, and maybe I'll just do 2 rules. Okay, what's this rule? Please listen, and then we'll just kind of skip through. All right, what's this rule here? Speak English. Looking at the vowels again, review, I and I, O and A, U and O. Now, you know, it's hard to produce these things week after week, so this one does, since I have, you know, multiple levels that I'm usually working with, you need that. And it's good for the reinforcement, and I don't mind so much using the same slides again. I don't think it's necessary to like keep producing new ones for a couple of reasons. It kind of works against you in the long run, I think. But new words here. That's what I tried to do here. So we'll have different words to look at. So I got, let's see, you got the vowel, that is long. So I, what is the word? That's what I was kind of worried about. But it's a short, so it's I. So it's I, k, s, I, k, s. But, you know, it's a word they should be familiar with. I was like, I hope you know, like sex. K, long, so O, so T, K, O, T, coat. So I got the short there, so that's all, so K, A, K, K, A, K, and maybe I'll point to the one on the wall. If anybody knows it. Alright, so I got short there, so off. And it's kind of good. I like to try and use the ones with very basic consonant sounds, very clear consonant sounds, so I don't have to sort of really try. So they're just getting the hang of like making those blends and pronouncing words, sorry. So here I start off with, as a review, I want to talk about what did you buy again. So I changed a little bit. I got bananas and apples in here. Just quick. Boom, boom, no. What did you buy? What did you buy? What did you buy? Couple of those. All right, what did you buy? Change around the outcomes a little bit. And I have a new listen, repeat here. This time, listen, what's this here? Anybody know what this is? Milk, so.
How much milk do you want?
Alright, so you see if they can get it, if they picked up on how much. One more time.
How much milk do you want?
How much milk do you want? Usually they get it pretty good. Once again, if they're not getting it, if it doesn't sound like they're repeating it correctly, you can read it. I introduce the words, and we just kind of go over it as a class.
Not too much, just a little.
Not too much, just a little. All right, very good.
Not too much, just a little.
What's this down here? Rice. So.
How much rice do you want?
How much rice do you want?
Not too much, just a little.
What's down here? What's down here? It's called salad.
How much salad do you want?
How much salad do you want?
Not too much, just a little.
So I like the idea of just kind of doing those, focusing on those simple question answer there, because we're just talking about you know, the difference between using much and many, and countable and uncountable. So I introduced something here, and I said, what do you think that is there, that blue stuff there? How much water? So I can say a little, Alright, how much water? Some. Well, how much water? A lot of. A lot of. So I decided to focus on a little, some, and a lot of. And in order to kind of sort of get us focused on that, I did this memory game here. So we know a little, we know some, and we know a lot of. So it won't work. So we introduced these. So I go through this. Okay, what's that there? It's a little. What's this here? A lot of, and some. All right. And then I take, make them disappear. And then I point at one of the question marks. Maybe I'll point at the third question mark, and I'll go, all right, how much water? And you have to remember what it was. So I can always go back. They say a lot of. Yep, a lot of. Very good. Paper, scissors, stone. If they say. The next one, all right, let's see. All right, so how much water? A lot of. How much water? Some. How much water? Some. How much water? A little. All right, let's see what we remember. Then I'll point maybe to the last one. Say, how much water? Maybe they go, some. Let's take a look. A lot of, some, no, a little. And you can always go back here and get rid of the words and point at the second one. How much water? Some. Very good, very good. And check it here by going forward and backward, bringing up the words. So we do that for a while. I got a couple slides here of the memory game. Actually, I think there's a repeat here. How much water? Yeah, that's a repeat. Memory game. Use that in different aspects when it's kind of convenient to do so. Like there's 3 of these in here. And let's move on to the next. Yeah, so we got some, a little, and a lot of. What's the first one? Some. Yeah. Very good. Freezing up. All right. And I like to do this, introduce this with students when they're talking about uncountable nouns and the uncountables. So I like to talk about the containers because very often that's the language you get, those phrases, expressions are the things you're going to be using when you talk about uncountables. It's difficult in China because they have kind of their own measurement that they talk about, like the jin. It's difficult to talk about like sort of measurements. So I talk about containers. Because I don't want to get into the differences of a pound and a difference of a kilogram and a difference of a gin. It's too much language. So I'll try and just kind of focus on containers and how we talk about things. Uncountables through containers or how they become countable to some extent. I know with the the more sort of advanced classes, I'll get more involved in actual measurements and things like that. And how you can count containers, so you usually talk about the thing you can count. So I say, okay, what do you think this is here? Okay, so it's water. No, so what is this here? Bowl. This is a glass, and this is a bottle. So I say what? I say I point to the bottle. I say, what is that? A bottle of water. Get the class repeated. A bottle of water. What do you think this is? Rice. But it's a bowl of rice, a bag of rice, or a cup of rice. A bag of rice. Good. What's this here? What's here? Bread. But is it a bag of bread? Is it a piece of bread? And here I kind of thought it was better just to say piece, because that has much more of a general, it's much more of a general use term than slices. So you can use piece in a lot of different aspects. So I kind of figured that was the best choice here. And can, so a piece of bread. Rice. What is it? Is it a bowl? Is it a glass? Is it a piece? What's this here? Water. Is it a cup? Is it a glass? Or is it a bottle? What's this here? Cheese. Right. Is it a bag of cheese? Is it a piece of cheese or a cup of cheese? Piece of cheese. What are these here? Chocolate. Is it a bag of chocolate? A piece of chocolate? Or a box of chocolate? A box of chocolate. Very good. And since we were talking about containers here, I have kind of a find the matches game. So we'll go through that. We were just kind of talking about matching them up. Sometimes you have to be careful that they don't, jumble up the words, put them out of order. The container, really put the noun before the container sometimes. So I got a bowl, a glass, a bottle, and juice, bag, water, rice, fruit. So I'll start off, okay, so let's say I got a bowl of what? A bowl of what? A bowl of, we have the language down there at the bottom, a bowl of juice? 2, 1, no. A bowl of water? 2, 3, no. And now they're starting to get the hang of it. So a bowl of rice. 2, 4, no. A bowl of fruit. Yes. Paper, scissors, stone. All right. So what do we have here? Someone pick it up on it. A bottle of juice. No. A bottle of water. Yes. A glass of juice. Yes. What's the last one? A rice, a bag. No. A bag of rice. Yeah, a bag of rice. Move on to the next slide. More practice with this. A box, chocolate. Usually I get that one right off the bat. A cup of milk. A cup of milk. No. A cup of juice. Yes. A piece of bread. Yeah, a glass of milk. And as kind of the last section, my wrap-up exercise was just kind of, going back over the difference between how much and how many. When I say meat, how much or how many? How much or how many? How much? Bread, how much? Bananas, how many? Cheese, how much or how many? How much? Apples, how many or how much? Juice, how many or how much? You get the sense that they're familiar with drinks are going to be uncountable for the most part. Things like cheese and bread sometimes gets confusing. How many? And 10-second check. The same words, much. The sentence. The sentence. The sentence. The sentence. Review. And 2. And that's it. That's my presentation on uncountable and countable nouns. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope there's some activities in there that you can use in your classroom or some ideas you can sort of format in your classrooms. If you'd like to know more, please drop me a comment in the section below. I'd be happy to respond. If there's materials that I can help provide for you, I'd be happy to do that also. Just let me know. And if you would, I'd really appreciate it if you clicked like and subscribe. Really trying to build up this channel for myself and the work I put into my classrooms. I think it's something that's going to be good to share with others. But that's all for now. So thanks for watching, and this is Outtake Esl, and we talk to you later.